As you know, Carroll Shelby was a damn good race car driver who had to quit driving because of a heart condition. And so to make a buck, he became a car constructor instead.
My name's Carroll Shelby and performance is my business.
When Shelby American began producing its Cobra sports car, it offered it initially just as a street car. But pretty soon, Shelby customers could actually order a turnkey race car that they could take straight to the track. A couple of years later, Ford Motor Company had Shelby produce a special sporty version of its new Mustang, specifically to tackle the small block Corvette in SCCA B production sports car racing. Shelby built two versions of what was called the GT350, the Shelby GT350. There was a street version and a turnkey race car. 1966, Ford decided it wanted to enter the new SCCA Trans-Am Sedan Championship, which was run to FIA Group 2 touring car regulations. So it had Shelby American build a special batch of Group 2 turnkey race cars that anyone with $6,000 could buy. These new Shelby Group 2 touring cars were basically a Shelby GT350, but cloaked in a regular Mustang coupe body shell. Shelby continued production of its Group 2 customer cars in 1967 with the new facelifted Mustang. But 1967 would also be the last year that you or I could just rock up to Shelby American and order ourselves a brand new turnkey race car that we could take straight to the track.
The start, which is frequently a short run to disaster here, gets off cleanly. Donahue, Leslie, Jerry Titus, and Dr. Dick Thompson are jammed as tight as nuts in a candy bar going into the meandering first turn. But they all come out of it.
So in 1967, Shelby American produced about 25 of these turnkey Group 2 Mustang race cars. Shelby kept 4 of them for themselves for their own factory Trans Am program, and the other 21 or so cars were sold off to independent teams or privateers. And the car park behind me here is one of those 21 cars, which makes this one of the very last Shelby American customer race cars produced. So this beautiful Group 2 Mustang here was ordered brand new from Shelby American in 1967 by a New Zealand businessman by the name of Norm Barry. And Norm, for whatever reason, didn't want people knowing that he was a race car driver on the weekends, and so he raced under the pseudonym of Frank Bryan, which was actually his 2 middle names. Now Norm Barry, or Frank Bryan if you prefer, contested an endurance race in the USA with this car, not a Trans Am race, and then it was shipped back to New Zealand, where Norm raced it from late 1967 through to early 1968 in the New Zealand Saloon Car Championship, where he finished second to Paul Fahey. So after just one season, Norm Barry sold the Mustang to Red Dawson, who had it repainted in this beautiful dark metallic blue with the big gold numbers and the black stripes over the top. And it was actually painted by a young car painter by the name of Ken Smith, who himself went on to have a hugely successful single-seater racing career. So Red Dawson raced this Mustang for 3 seasons. He raced it from 1968 through to 1971. He contested races in New Zealand and he contested the 1968 Australian Touring Car Championship. He won the 1970 New Zealand Saloon Car Championship with his Mustang, finishing first equal with Camaro driver Rod Coppins. And as it turned out, that 1970 title would be the only national championship that Red won. Let me just quickly show you the interior here. In New Zealand, these cars had to race with full interior, which they didn't have to do in the United States in the Trans-Am series. So this particular car has got all its seats. The driver's seat could be swapped for a racing seat. Look at the original wooden steering wheel there. This thing is just so original. The cage. These cars were built with just a half cage that sat behind the driver, but this car now has a full cage. But otherwise, it is on the inside incredibly original. This Mustang actually had a pretty short racing career, and as a result, it was never cut up. It was never modernized like a lot of cars of that period were to stay current with the new generation of cars as they came through. After Dawson finished with it in 1971, it passed through a couple of different owners, and in typical Kiwi fashion, it became a drag car, actually fitted with a big block Chevy, but it remained largely intact and it wasn't chopped about at all. In the 1990s, the Shelby was purchased by Queensland collector David Bowden and went and joined his incredible collection in Australia, along with about 3 early New Zealand racing Mustangs. The Bowdens repainted the car in its correct Wimbledon white as supplied by Shelby American when it was brand new. But more recently it was purchased by my good friends Nigel and his wife Diane, and they've brought it back to New Zealand and had it repainted as most Kiwis remember it, in its metallic blue with the big gold numbers on the side, as raced by Red Dawson and as it won the 1970 New Zealand Saloon Car Championship. Let me just show you the engine here, guys. All of these Shelby American Group 2 Mustangs in both 1966 and 67 were fitted with a 289 cubic inch small block V8 that produced around 400 horsepower or so. All of them, including this car, were fitted with a pair of 4-barrel Holly carburetors, but for some reason this car throughout its entire New Zealand racing life was actually fitted with a quartet of Weber 2-barrels. And although it's got a lot more chutzpah now than it did in period, its current owner Nigel has retained the quartet of Webers, and I have to say it looks really pretty. Now if you check out over here, I love this. Nigel has been able to track down a full set of the original magnesium American racing wheels that were supplied with this car when it was brand new from Shelby American. Here's 2 of them here. These are 15x8s, the other 2 wheels are 15x7s, they were on the front. And what I love is that if you look carefully there, you'll actually see that American Racing used to punch the name of the team into the center of the wheels. Frank Bryan Racing. And this one here, they've actually spelt the name wrong. They've got the Y and the R back to front. So cool. Back then in the 1960s, American Racing was just a small cottage industry business producing, like this here, specialized racing wheels. Now you might be wondering why it is that Nigel has attached a non-original rear spoiler to the Shelby from a 1969-70 Mustang Fastback, and the reason is because that's what Red Dawson did when he won the New Zealand Saloon Car Championship with this car. Dawson also installed a bright yellow front chin spoiler. Nigel's gone for something just a little more subtle. So that's it, guys. That is the story of this beautiful 1967 Shelby American Group 2 Mustang Racer. Obviously, there were only a few of these cars built in the first place, and these days they're even rarer because a lot of them didn't survive. And although rare and obviously quite valuable now, its current owner Nigel isn't precious about it. He gets it out and he races it and he enjoys it, and that's exactly what Shelby American and Carroll Shelby himself intended for these cars. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Cheers!